Hello, this is Broyar, and welcome back to another episode of our Let's Play for Football Manager 2023 as we continue our road to glory run with Banbury United F.C. in the Championship League. Today we got the end of season review. Again, disappointing season, but I'm glad to see that it started picking up a bit, so hopefully you guys are as well. We will also go through the transfer special, which might be quick. I'll explain that in just a moment as well, but let's get right into it. All right, here we are. End of season review for the 2033-2034 season. Here's what we got going for us. Obviously, we did bring Angelini in as our backup goalkeeper. He will probably stay around as long as he wants. Most likely, I'm guessing he will probably retire for us, or with us, I should say. Getting Didio, the board agrees as much as I do that he was a great pickup. Fisher, an excellent pickup. I wish we could keep him around forever, but he is just going to be way too expensive. Morner, another really solid pickup overall. Not sure if we're going to be able to keep him or not. We'll get into that as well here in just a moment. Clarkson, maybe not the greatest pickup overall, but we didn't spend an arm and a leg on him necessarily at 1.5 million. I mean, it's a lot, but and he did get a 7.01, honestly. So I think I'm okay paying that much money for a reasonably good rating, but the board does not seem super happy with that. Campbell, I'm personally pretty happy with that. We'll see what he can do for us, hopefully again next year. If we can get him in, we'll find out. Fletcher comes in here. He's obviously one that we bought. Decent chunk of money. Played pretty well. Board seems like they're okay with it. They're also happy with the minimum release clause of 21.5 million. Obviously, if somebody wants to come in for 21.5 million for him, I will gladly sell him, even though he did play well. Really, you were disappointed with the loan? Really? I'm surprised that they did not like this one. I thought he did okay. I was pretty happy with him. Brought Harwood in on a permanent. He only subbed a couple of times. He was really just an emergency pickup, to be perfectly honest. So the fact that he subbed 3 times and got a 6.9 average, we got paid nothing for him. So I'm honestly pretty happy with that overall. I guess they're not happy with the fact that his wages are too high. Okay, fair enough. Madonda was another kind of last minute pickup. He only played 3 starts, 6 subs, 6.9 overall rating. He's going to be a solid ball-winning midfielder for us, so we'll see what he can continue to do going into this next season. Theodorou coming in here for 9 mil. Pretty big pickup for us. I thought he played well enough, and he's definitely got some room to grow as a 21-year-old. Lee Harris here did not cost us too much money. Played all right, honestly. Again, nothing too crazy. They were unhappy with Hawkshaw as well. Interesting to think about. So we'll have to get into those in a bit. Billy Bell comes in here. He played a lot more than I actually probably thought he was going to play. Not amazing, don't get me wrong, but I think he's going to be somebody who will be able to at least be a good solid backup for that right-hand side going into this next year. And then, of course, Cumberbatch. They were actually relatively okay with the Cumberbatch pickup. He's got a lot of potential ahead of him over there on that left-hand side. And hopefully we actually get to play him next year because we didn't get to this last time. What about the transfers out? Anybody here that they just absolutely hated? No, not really at all. Hayes, Smith, not really. Moss, Joseph, they were mostly okay with. Most of these they were like fairly okay with. Amdouni going out. Honestly, Amdouni didn't play well once he left, it appears. None of these were like drastically bad, so seems like we did all right with the transfers out. Loan outs, I mean, most of these guys were just loaned out just to try and get them off the charts themselves. I mean, Spagnoli's a guy that I wouldn't mind keeping around if we can find a place for him. Apparently, they liked the loan out for him, and he seemed like he played okay. We'll see how he developed. Gray, I don't really care about. Rattray, I mean, I kept thinking he was going to develop into something someday. Just doesn't feel like he has. How much more development? Spagnoli's got a lot of development ahead of him, so if we can keep him on the actual team, I would probably be very happy with that. Vernon, they were okay with the loan out for him. He just doesn't. He's not going to be a guy we're going to keep forever. And same thing with Ria Rose, I don't think. So nothing really to write home about with a lot of those. Overall, the board were very happy with our position, even though I was not. I will also say that the board has agreed. Not only are they already working on 900 new seats for the current stadium, but they also agreed to expand it even further for another I think almost 3,000 seats, which will be done in December of this coming season. So we are going to finally should be able to get about a 10,000 seat capacity stadium, which is starting to get respectable, So hopefully that goes through okay. And that was good to see. But final position, 10th place. I mean, all things considered, probably should be pretty happy with that. FA Cup, we did all right. I mean, the only team we lost to was a Premier League level team. Although at some point we got to hope that we can start playing better against these Premier level teams, even in the FA Cup. So something to think about. There's another Premier level team that we lost to, Crystal Palace here. Again, I'd like to start being able to play well against these Premier teams if we think we have any hope of staying up in the Premier League when we ever get back there again. Biggest win is against Bournemouth there. That's where we got the hat trick from Campbell, a goal from Bedford, and a goal from Keddy in that game. Match to remember was against Ipswich, brace from Campbell. And that was the one that had the other side, had a Campbell as well. And then goal of the season came from Hurd in the second minute of another game against Ipswich. Let's go look at this goal. Really, really liked the way Hurd started picking up there. Would like to continue seeing him develop some more. I think he's got a little bit of development ahead of him. Here's Hurd coming along. Oh, I remember this one. Yes, I remember that one. Oh, yeah. Good play from Hurd right there. He just did it all himself. Literally just said, okay, I got this, guys. And then there's a good put away from Fisher. So I remember those. Yeah, that was there at the end of the season. All right, finances. Looks like our club reputation's sitting right around 3 stars. No new sponsorships overall, although we did get an increase in sponsorships from last season. That's good. Broadcast revenue was drastically down from last season, as you would expect. Corporate hospitality up a smidge. Competition prize money down quite a bit. And then a little bit of boost up in matchday commercial and retail. Number 1 shirt sold, Watts. I'm not surprised by that. Mandanda, I'm surprised that he actually sold a lot of shirts. Griffiths, of course. Fletcher, I make sense. And Hurd, I like Hurd, of course. I'm surprised Mandanda was there long enough to sell enough shirts. You know what I mean? So here's how we lined up. Watson go. Hecker on the left, Keddy on the right. I mean, that's just mostly because Bedford was injured for so long. Obviously, we would probably have rather played him. Carew and Mourner in the middle. That makes sense. Clarkson, Didio. Yeah, okay. Fisher on the left, Fletcher on the right. Yep. Umaro and Campbell. Yeah, this looks like a lineup that we would have expected for sure. The only thing I would have changed would have been Bedford on the left and Hecker on the right, I think, if we could have done that. No accolades or anything like that from last season or carrying over into this season. Fans player of the season was Watts, of course. Young player of the season was Watts. Signing of the season was Theodoru. Hopefully he can continue to develop very well for us. Goal of the season was from Hurd. We saw that. Top goal scorer was Campbell. I'm glad to see we actually had a goal scorer this year compared to last year. Most assists was Fisher on that right-hand side. Wait. Do I have them backwards? No, Fisher's on the left-hand side. I was going to say, that didn't sound right. Fisher's on the left-hand side. Fletcher's on the right-hand side. Most player of the match awards with 5 was Campbell. Yes, that makes sense. Highest average rating was Carew. I actually thought Hurd had the highest average rating, but no. Carew, and I'm glad that we're going to be able to keep him around. And Mourner with most passes completed per 90 minutes. Definitely some good play in a few places. Once Banbury got rolling midway through the season, it looked hard to stop them, finishing impressively overall, which we did. 10th place is respectable. Thanks to a great run of results in the middle of the season, Banbury have enjoyed a successful campaign. It by most standards, I guess you would call it successful, but I personally was disappointed. I thought we could have done better than that, but it is what it is. We did hit our 600th game just a couple games ago, 600 matches managed. So hopefully that means we can get back into the Premier League soon. I'm not sure what this news article is, but yeah, there we go. 10th place finish. Not impossibly far away from Ipswich. I mean, all said and done, we were 14 points away from playoffs, though. That's a lot. That's a lot. Anything else we want to look at right now? I don't think so. Okay, but I do want to show you this. So, we've already done some transfers. And we've got some others we're working on. So, Campbell, we're working on getting him in. A bit expensive, but I think... I mean, are we going to find a better striker than him for 15 million pounds? Maybe if we really looked for it, but I don't know. I just no guarantees. And even then it's a gamble, right? We don't know until we get him in. Towards the end of the season, he had a really good working relationship with Amaro. So if we can get both of them in, Amaro, we're getting in on a pretty good deal as far as his how much we're paying for him, although his wages are very high. He wanted some very high wages, which is where we're going to struggle with him, unfortunately. But he played well towards the end of the season, had a good relationship with Campbell, so we'll see what we can do there. Hawkshaw, I'm probably overpaying for Hawkshaw, I'll be perfectly honest. I liked him. I liked what he did for us. We'll see what happens. I mean, if I wasn't paying this, I probably would be okay with this for a midfielder that seemed like they'd be reasonably well. So maybe he's not. Maybe he's going to be okay. We'll find out. But we are trying to get these 3 in already, as you can see. Now that does mean that our financial budget is a bit tight. We don't have a lot left in the transfer budget right now, and I don't know that we're going to be able to go after anybody else. I mean, we already know that Marner. Oh, sorry, I think I had him backwards. Marner is out of the question. Fisher is a possibility, but Marner is just, there's just no way, right? We're not spending 28 million bucks on this guy. Fisher is a possibility. I thought they were the other way around, to be perfectly honest. I don't know why my brain had them the other way around. We'll see. We'll see what we can do with one of those 2 guys. I just don't know. I don't know if it's even going to be possible. Which one would we really want? That's a good question. That's a really good question. Who would we want more? They both ended up on the same rating at the end of the season. Who would we want more? I honestly don't know. I mean, I think Fisher was just more reasonable. We can get him on a reasonably priced level. Marner, there's just no way, right? I don't know. We'll play around with it, but I will bring you guys back when we've done some stuff with this transfer special. I'm not going to show you. I mean, the tactics, we're going to start with the same tactic we did this year. So no changes there, unless we just have to drastically change something somewhere, which I can't imagine why we would. So expect the tactic to stay the same. I don't know. We'll go from there. But I'll bring you guys back when there's more news to talk about. Well, for the first time ever, there's a good chance that the transfers are done before we even get to the official end of the season for the previous season. We've got $600,000 left in the transfer budget. Basically nothing left in the wage budget. We're like $1,500 over, $1,700 over, something like that. Between our committed and our actual wage budget. So yeah, what did we do? We got them all. It's probably a really bad move. I'm probably going to end up regretting it someday. But we got them all. And by all, I mean all 5 of the loanees are staying in a move that I didn't think was possible and took some very sneaky stuff on my part, especially with Marner. Okay, so we did get... you guys already knew about Campbell, Umaro, and Hawkshaw. You guys knew those were going to stay. You guys saw that last time. Fisher, we got in. We actually got him under his evaluation slightly. So 14.2 up front, going up to 9.75 over time. So there's a little bit on, payment plan, and then there's a little bit if he sticks around long enough. So I think that was a pretty good bit. And then Marner. The only way we could get Marner was to put more of it on the payment plan than I probably would have preferred. But I was desperate, so we got Marner as well. I don't know how this is going to work out in the long run. We're going to find out, but it is a lot of big transfers, as you guys can tell. So, and the other thing we had to do in order to make this happen, because we were a little bit short on money to make all of it happen, we did sell Billy Bell here. He left for 6.5 mil, and don't get me wrong, I probably would have liked to have kept him if we could, but at the end of the day, he just kind of was just filling a spot for the most part. It wasn't like we had to have him, and he was one of the ones that I could get the most value from right away. So we sold him. I mean, for a guy that we bought for 4.6, we then turned around a year later and sold him for 6.5. Decent amount of profit, and that 6.5 allowed us to bring in basically Marner, because he was the one that got us enough money to get Marner. I think selling Billy Bell was well worth bringing Marner in here. Could arguably be long-term the best player that we've got at the league, in the team, because he's going to be good. I think long-term. I mean, he's exactly what we want to see in that type of player. I mean, he's got a lot of good stats in a lot of the right places. 6 foot tall, drumming, reach, and heading aren't like amazing, but good enough to kind of fill a spot. And he's only 21 years old, so he's still got plenty of room to develop into a amazing player someday. So I'm pretty happy with this get. You guys will have to let me know what you guys think, if I'm just crazy, because he's already a premier level player, right? And he could improve. So I think it was a good get. I mean, getting all 5 of these might have been a little bit crazy. The one I was probably least sure of is Hawkshaw here. If we hadn't gotten him, I probably would have been okay with that. I think getting Amaro for this money was great. Now his salary is, I think, now officially the most expensive salary at the team. Maybe that's not worth it in the long run, but if he plays like he did this year and he has a good relationship with Campbell, I think we're going to be pretty happy with that. Interestingly enough, Fisher would actually rather be an attacking midfielder in the middle, apparently, even though the media thinks he's a wide playmaker. But we'll see how we play them. I think we're going to play them pretty much the same way as we did this year and kind of keep going from there. But I feel like the squad is in a good place. I mean, we got Didio back, right? Like, he played well. We got Watts. We got Carew, who's done well. Hurd stepping up. We'll get to see how Cumberbatch does. Hopefully he does well on that left-hand side. For the right-hand side, we do still have Keddy that can play over there, although his crossing, I think, is pretty low. Yeah, his crossing is basically non-existent. But other options would be, obviously we got Hecker. We're going to keep him around. If we can keep Spagnelli. Oh, Spagnelli's not here because he's away from the team. Let's do this. Bringing Spagnoli back into the lineup. Hopefully, where is he? Oh, up there. Hopefully we'll fill that spot for us, and we'll just keep him in the lineup, and that'll be good. His crossing's not that great either, to be fair, but he's got a lot of good other stats. So we'll see what happens with that. So I think we'll be okay on the right-hand side. I think the left-hand side's looking okay. Defense is looking strong. Midfield's looking strong. Wingers are looking good. No, I think it's the same team we had this year, which you could say, well, you guys didn't do good enough this year. But I think if they've played together for an off season, kind of going through practice together, and we play this formation from the beginning, I think we have a fighting chance of doing more of this than this. And if we do more of this up the top, then I think we're going to be okay. In fact, can we see, is there a way to see, I thought there was a way to see like oh yeah. First half of the season, we were way down here. So what position is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15th. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's where we were before we started making things good. So first half of the season, we were down there. Second half of the season, we were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. So obviously significant improvement over the second half. In fact, if we doubled our second half score, we would have gotten 72 points overall, which would have put us, yeah, maybe right around 8th place, technically 9th, but, in that ballpark. So, again, that's not quite good enough to obviously flat out win, but that's knocking on the doors of playoffs. And I think if we can knock on the doors of playoffs next year, I think that'll be good. And I think we'll be even better than we were this season, even in the second half, to be perfectly honest. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we'll find out. So, there we go. That's where we're at. I don't even know if there's even any point bringing you guys back for any more transfer. We got nothing left. I guess here, let's put it this way. I will bring you guys back if something happens. But as of right now, I think I'm skipping ahead to the season start, and we're going to see how this thing plays. So, but like I said, I will bring you guys back officially right at the end of the season, so we can just take a look at everything to make sure nothing crazy changed. But expect that we have our team already, which is insane to think about. But I'm optimistic and I feel pretty happy. I'm happy that we got some really good players permanently that I did not expect us to be able to get. Whether or not those players end up playing as well as I'm hoping they will, guess we'll find out together. But I'll be back again if there's anything to come back to. All right, we've made it through the friendlies, ready for our first game coming up here in about 5 days. I think I'm mostly done with transfers for the moment. We don't really have any registration slots, I don't think. I'll double check that here in just a moment. But the reason I say I think I'm done is because, I mean, obviously I could always go get some under 21s to just have to fill in some backup spots. We don't have a lot of money left over, but we do have a couple guys that do have release clauses pretty high release clauses for their value, but there are teams coming after them for those release clauses. So I'm hoping we can hold on to them still. Where I can, I'm trying to renegotiate with them and give them maybe a better contract that has no release clause, or at least a higher release clause, things like that. So I'm trying to work through it, trying to hold on to the guys that we have, because I do like the group of guys that we have. But there is a slim possibility that we could lose somebody else that I will have to go and find a replacement for. So, but here we go. As you can see, we played only Premier level teams in the friendlies. I was just like, you know what? Why not? Let's just challenge ourselves, see what we can do. And truth be told, it looks like we lost 3 games, right? And a couple of them looks like they weren't that good. We played pretty good in those games. Even in the Tottenham game, we had several chances to score a goal ourselves, and then we got Hurt sent off in the 31st minute, and obviously there's no way we could come back in that. But we did end up scoring a goal in the second half with Spagnoli. And honestly, like I said, we had a couple other opportunities to score goals, just couldn't quite get past Tottenham. They are obviously a better team, but we didn't look atrociously bad, I guess, in my opinion. We then up against Watford. Obviously, we beat them 3-1, as you can see. We got a goal from Harris, a goal from Hawkshaw. I keep saying Hawkshaw, and a goal from Salisbury in this game. Campbell picking up his first goal of the friendlies, not counting the under 18s. I'm not counting under 18s. And against our game against Newcastle again. I think we looked better than a 4-1 defeat, although Newcastle definitely looked like the better team. I'm not arguing that point at all, but we didn't look bad. Like, we had some, against a team that's, not at a Newcastle level, I think we might be all right. So, and then of course, we're against Brighton here, again, another Premier level team, not at a Newcastle or Tottenham level. We actually kept this one close, and they ended up winning in the 87th minute. So I thought we were going to be fine there, but couldn't quite get the victory here. But that's okay. And part of the reason probably we didn't get the victory is because I do swap out my starters. I swap them out at halftime for the first couple of games, and then I swap them out about 60 minutes into the game for the last one. So it makes sense that these teams are going to score against us once we bring in our complete backups. Not that our backups are bad, but when you're only playing your backups, your team obviously takes a step backwards in overall quality. So like I said, I thought the friendlies were okay. I thought we saw some good signs of things. Some of the play just looked really smooth, and I'm hopeful that's going to translate well into the championship itself. But as far as players, we got some more we're looking at. I say we're looking at. There's some more that my director of football is looking at. He's got this guy Serrano that he's trying to get some looks at. I don't know that I'm probably going to say no to this one. I just don't have a way to register him, quite frankly. As far as outs, there's a couple guys that might be leaving. There's a couple loans that I'm trying to get out, things like that. Maybe people that we're not using. But if we go look at the transfer history, as you can see, we have Darby's went out on loan. Rattray's out on a free. Vernon's left on a free. Shea left. We got 925K up to 1.3 mil for Shea. Unfortunately, Hecker left. Obviously, I would love to have kept Hecker. Hecker would have been a guy I would want to have kept, but he did have a 9.75 mil release clause. Again, I try to get rid of these release clauses, but sometimes their agents lock them in, and it is what it is. So we did get 9.75 mil for him. How much did we pay for him? 12 mil. So we did lost a little money there. He did have a higher release clause until we got relegated from the Premier League. So it is what it is. Again, sometimes agents lock those in and we just don't have a choice. It's either, I guess I could just get players without release clauses, but I wanted him and he played well for us. So I think it was okay to have him for a couple seasons, even with the release clause. You could argue that I should just try and remove those, like I said, or like I said, get players that don't need them. But most players seem to put those on there. I really liked him. He played well. We at least got something for him. It is what it is. It's not the end of the day. It's not the end of the world. And then Rio Rose went out on a loan, and then we did sell Reece Evans for 750K. How much did we get him for? We got him for a free. So going up to 750K there. I mean, add that to Hecker's. We're a little bit closer to the value that Hecker we lost for Hecker. Actually, Shea might even. How much did we lose on Shea? No, we gained a little bit of money on Shea. So all is said and done, not terrible. And we have brought in a couple players to, I say a couple players. We've brought in one player to replace Hecker, which we can look at here in just a second. And then I also brought in a player sort of to replace Evans, because Evans was kind of, at this point in time, the only backup striker that I had, unless I move Salisbury up there. But I want Salisbury to play in the attacking midfield, and we'll take a look at that here in a moment. But, so I didn't really have a backup striker. So Evans was kind of filling that role because he has pretty, decent finishing, 11 finishing, 14 dribbling. 10 first touch. It's not amazing, don't be wrong, but, you know, better than some of the other guys we have. But let's look at the two guys that we brought in, both of them on loan. First up, we brought Jonathan. He's the Hecker replacement. He comes in here as a right fullback. Looks pretty solid, honestly. 21 years of age, Brazilian. Plenty of room to grow, get better, things like that for sure. In theory, he's not as good as Mourner, and I could play Mourner on the right-hand side. 100% could play Mourner on the right-hand side. And maybe there will be times that I will. But Mourner has played really, really well as a central defender as well. And so I'd kind of like to keep him there if we can. Again, this guy, I mean, he's played in the championship last 2 seasons. Not bad stats by any stretch. I mean, he's not maybe necessarily Hecker's level, but I think he'll definitely fill in and do a good job for us. Yeah, so there's that. And then we brought in Joelmer Fines? Yeah, I don't know how to say his name. Fiends. I don't know how to pronounce that. You know what? Just because it's going to bug me, I'm just going to call him Fine. Good old Fine here. So Fine comes in here. 3-star current ability. Could go as high as 5-star. Very strong finishing on him. Dribbling, first touch are not bad by any stretch of the imagination. But like I said, that finishing is amazing. If he can actually score some goals for us, that would be awesome. So he comes in here as a strong, solid backup for Campbell. And he has not played in any like high-level divisions yet. So this is his first chance to try and show what he can actually do. I mean, he did score 20 goals a few seasons ago, but that was in a much, much lower level. So we'll see what he can do. He looks good. He just hasn't had an opportunity to prove himself. But again, both these guys on loan. We're paying a big chunk of money for him, to be fair. And maybe that was a mistake, but he was either paying a big chunk of money for him or go get somebody who's not as good as him for probably about $1 million anyway. So I went ahead and went with him. It is a bit of a gamble, but hey, our gamble on Campbell worked out really, really well. So hopefully the gamble on this guy will as well. Let me go look at the squad for a second. I think, like I said, we're full on registration. We are. So lowies, we probably can't bring in unless we start dropping some guys off the bottom here. So if we bring anybody in, it'll have to be under 20-year-olds or under 21s, you know. So we'll see what we can do with that. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. There are a couple guys. There's some people coming after Griffiths, trying to get him. Thankfully, he's turned down the first offer he got, but there's still a very good chance that he could leave us. If he does, we'll try to find us somebody for that left wing to back up Fisher. Other than that, I think that's about it. I'll let you guys, I mean, there's always a chance that somebody comes in for somebody else, and we just aren't, they're not on my radar at the moment. But we just don't have a lot of under 21-year-olds, do we? Mourner's our only one. Everybody else is older. I mean, they're not old. Don't get me wrong. We got a lot of 21s, 22s. They're just older than we can be registered, or they're older enough that they have to be registered is what I'm trying to say. But let's go look at our tactics. Same tactic as we've used before. Here is our starting lineup. If we, let me see, let me switch some people around. Campbell, Amaru, Fletcher. Actually, not Fletcher. Hurd will be our starter when he comes back from his injury. I really like the way Hurd has been playing. Fletcher's obviously really good as well. No argument from there. But Hurd is just playing, you know, lights out lately. So if he comes back from his injury, okay, which is going to be a couple weeks, unless Fletcher's just killing it, you know, which he might be, then Hurd might be our starter. Sorry for the yawns. Hey, that's going to be a good season if I keep yawning. Amaru in our attacking midfielder, Fisher on the left wing, Mananda and Didio is our midfield 2. Bedford will be on the left, Jonathan on the right, Mourner, and actually, if we get him back, Carew will be our starter in the central defender spot. So this is our starting lineup, and then our backups will look something. Oh, sorry, and not Angelina, of course. Unfortunately, Watts is injured as well. I mean, we've had a lot of injuries in the preseason, which is really troubling because part of the purpose of the preseason is to build up your stamina so that you get less injuries over the course of a season, but hasn't worked out so good. But look at this. Lots of 3.5 stars, 4 stars, a couple 4 stars. I mean, we got, I feel like, a really, really solid, strong team. But our backups will look something like this. We'll bring Fine in. We will bring Fletcher in. For Amaru, we'll bring Salisbury into that spot, most likely. Where is he? I really like how Salisbury plays in that spot. Fisher, for now, will be Griffiths. Unless something crazy happens. So hopefully that will work out. Didio is actually going to swap with Hawkshaw. He's going to fill in that spot. Madanda will be, I believe Clarkson is who I have, although Fisher? No, Fisher. I was like, why do I have Fisher on my list? Because that's the guy on the left. It would be probably Clarkson, I think. Clarkson has played well, although apparently Ketty could play well there as well. So we might actually give Keddy a shot because he's actually our third level backup for a defender. So if Keddy can play a ball winning midfielder, well enough, we might give him a chance. Yeah, I mean, he looks all right for the most part. So we might give Keddy the nod here, see what he can do. And then over here on Jonathan's side, we'll bring in Spagnoli as our backup. On Bedford's side, we will bring in Cumberbatch, give him a chance to play. Although we do also still have Harwood, who looks like he might be okay as well. So we have a couple options there. For Morner, sorry, wrong button. For Morner, his backup will be Theodore, sorry. And then for Carew, his backup will be Kamali. And of course, Watts can go swapped with Angelina, who's going to have to start for the first game or so. And in fact, a couple of these guys are going to be injured the first game. So that's going to be what our backup looks like. I'm pretty happy with that. A couple guys that I did not mention that we still have. We have Harris down here. Where is he? Blind as a bat. There he is. Harris, a good player for midfield. He can also play as an attacking midfielder, so he is definitely an option. I already mentioned Keddy filling in this spot. So in place of Keddy, if we decide not to play him, another option would be Clarkson. So he's available. Owen is still available. Somebody we can look at. We already talked about Harwood. And that's about it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Anybody else that's on this list, I don't think I have registered at the moment, so they wouldn't be here anyway. I think guys like Katongo Gray, they're probably going to be heading out soon. So I feel like it's a pretty solid team. I feel like it's a little step up, even from last year, and potentially, I mean, at least at the very least, I think we've got a couple better backups. I think Fine as a backup. I like the fact that we're keeping Spagnoli here as a backup. I like Cumberbatch. He's been looking okay so far. 6.88 in those friendly games. That's not bad against teams that we're losing against. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Obviously, we like Kamoli here. We like Theodore. So we got a lot of, I mean, Angelini. I mean, that guy can play as well, right? We're not losing much with that goalkeeper if we ever have to play him. So I think looking at this backup squad, I'm pretty happy with this backup squad. And knowing that this is the backup squad tells me that we're going to be fine when we have to swap people out for different things. So I feel like we've got a better team. Let's see if the league agrees. The league, 9th is higher than we started last season. Although I think we had been up to like 10th or 9th towards the end of the season once we started getting some of those loanies in. But look, we got 2 of the best players in the league, according to this. We got Mornar and we got Watts. And then do we have anybody else on this list? There's Mornar, there's Watts. Surprisingly, no. But I will also say that Campbell is ranked 2nd on odds for being the top goal scorer in the league this year. So that feels really good. We got the top goal scoring striker. Then if we're not in the playoff hunt with the top goal scoring striker, then something else is going very much wrong. So that would be a good thing to be situated around. So here we go. Here's the first game. It's going to be against Derby here. Probably won't show the Crawley game. It's a League One team. I'll probably skip Crawley, show Nottingham Forest, because obviously they were a team that we did okay with last year, but I think they beat us one and we beat them one. Is that correct? Let's see. Is there a way to see how we match up against them? I thought there was. I really thought there was a way for us to see how we matched up against them. Is it not over here somewhere? No. I'm sure there is, and I'm just blind as a bat on where that would be. But I'm definitely not seeing it here. But we can just go back and look at last year's schedule. I mean, I was trying to find it like an easy way, but so we did beat Nottingham Forest in one game, and then I think they beat us in the other one. Yeah, they beat us in the other one. So we traded blows last year. So it'll be good to get off to a running start against them this season and see if our squad that beat them in the second half of the year is good enough to beat them again starting out here. So there we go. I think that's where we're going to put a cut in. Like I said, not a lot of transfers, but a lot of money spent. I mean, 49 million pounds spent is ridiculous compared to last season when we only spent basically 2.5 mil over what we actually brought in. I mean, the year before that, A little bit, a little bit of money went out. You know, not too bad. Still relatively reasonable. You know, we've been spending some money. I mean, we definitely have been spending some money, but, and this is our definitely by far our biggest spend ever. I mean, big part of that is the Mornar, you know, spend. That was massive. But he's the best. He's listed as the best right back in the league, which we're not even going to be playing him as a right back. Although maybe we should. I don't know. We'll play around with it. He doesn't play. He plays well as a right back. Don't get me wrong. He plays absolutely fine as a right back, but he also plays absolutely fine as a center back. So we'll play around with it. We'll see where he plays. I think no matter where we play him, he's going to be just fine. I mean, the media just labels him as a center back. I think he prefers to be, let's see, what is he? Not someone looking for. I'm looking for information, I think. Does he tell me what he labels himself as? No, I don't see that. I thought there was a place where you could see like what their favorite position was. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with him. Again, I'm not too worried about him, but I think, I mean, he's going to be great. I hope, I think, maybe. I mean, he's currently valued at 26 to 30 mil, but that's just probably because how much we spent on him, you know. But yeah, I'm excited to get back into this. I'm really, I mean, I was excited for last season, to be fair, but I think I'm even more excited this season. Really, really hoping for something extremely good here. I don't know. We'll find out. But that's the team. I don't think there's anything else for me to look at. Like I said, there's basically nothing left in the budget. We're basically done there. Oh, we did get, oh, that's what I was going to say. We did get another parachute payment from the Premier League, about 30 mil. So that helped, obviously, our finances overall. So good to have that. Gives us a bit of a little jump trying to get back into the Premier League. So that was nice. But anyway, we'll put a cut in there. When we come back, we'll play the game against Derby and go from there. But I do appreciate you guys watching. May God bless you, and I hope you join me again next time. Thank you, and goodbye. I wanted to give a special shout out to the following channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.